Wrestling fans, we're here at Renegade Rampage, and standing next to me is the Sarge. I'm talking about Sergeant Slaughter. And Sergeant Slaughter, thank you for joining us here on WrestleVision.
Pleasure to be here, Maggot.
Speaking of a Maggot, you started off as a Marine. You made the transition from the armed forces into wrestling. How was that transition?
I went into combat just about like I did in the Marine Corps. I dug a foxhole and kind of picked out who I wanted to be in that foxhole with. Not too many people you can trust out there. But it was a tough battle, and the transition was a little easier in professional wrestling than it was in the Marine Corps.
When you first stint in the WWF at the time, you were with the Grand Wizard. How was it, working with the Grand Wizard?
Well, he was my general. His past performers. It was quite an honor to have him be my manager, my general. I went up to him, and when I first went into Allentown and Hamburg and started doing TV tapings there, and asked him if he'd consider me, and he said he would, and that was all she wrote.
Talk a little bit about your high-profile feud with Pat Patterson. You went out there, you had the Cobra Clutch Challenge. Pat Patterson came out from behind the broadcast booth, wanted to try to break out of it, and then you had a major feud with some boot camp matches. How was the feud?
Oh, it was some of the greatest battles of all time. They say that it was the greatest match ever in the Madison Square Garden and never been duplicated. And Pat Patterson was one of those guys that was pretty tough. He knew his way around the ring, and especially in those kind of matches where anything went. After
you left, the WWF, and after your first stop there, you travel around. Most notably, you ended up in the Mid-Atlantic region. You won the NWA Tag Team Championship with Don Cornudo. You had some feuds for the U.S. title with Wahoo McDaniel. What did you learn from the Mid-Atlantic that you took with you when you went back to the WWF again?
Well, when you go down to the area that we were in, the Charlotte area, there was a pretty tough crew of guys there. And to walk in there and win the United States Heavyweight Championship, and then later on winning the World Tag Team Championships with Don Cornudo, it was quite a feather in the hat, because that wasn't easy to do. And Cornudo, who was a fan favorite type of guy and didn't really get above second or third match, I saw the potential in him, made him a private, and we ended up winning the tag team titles over in a tournament in Japan. And he was a real tough wrestler. We had some great battles with Steamboat Youngblood and Wahoo McDaniels at the United States Championship when I held that. And, we had a match in Greensboro Coliseum, tag team title match in a cage, and never been done before that I knew of before that. And they estimated that they turned away about 7,000 fans, if you can believe that. And that was the first time they ever thought about, in that region, of doing a closed circuit. They didn't have pay-per-view then. So they were going to do a closed circuit, and the promoter, Jimmy Crockett, wasn't sure because there wasn't a lot of advanced sales. There was a good sale, but the walk-up was unbelievable. And it was just, it's too bad we couldn't have got all those people in the building.
Speaking of maggots, throughout your career, that's how you address the crowds. In the WWF, your second time, your feud with the Iron Sheik. How was it? How was it when the fans cheering you? I mean, you obviously didn't have that throughout your career. So how was it when they decided to cheer you?
People tell you that they don't hear the fans, and sometimes you do, and sometimes you don't. But when you need them, you open up your ears. There are times when you have to, drown them out. There's a movie called For the Love of the Game by Kevin Costner, where he was a pitcher for the Detroit Tigers, and he was pitching a game, a no-hitter, and every time he wanted to get serious, he drowned out the crowd. He could hear him muffled, but you couldn't hear him all the way, and that's how you do it in wrestling.
How was it to have a figure made after you in the G.I. Joe series of the toys?
That was a real honor. They came to me and took a real living person and put him in the cartoon series, which had never been done before. And knock on wood, a lot of people these days come up to me and said they were G.I. Joe fans, and their children are now fans of G.I. Joe and wrestling, and it's just a big full circle. And to know that I helped out anybody out there with any problems they might have had just by holding up a G.I. Joe or watching a cartoon show, or even in wrestling. It makes you really feel well, and to have that honor for the rest of my life and my children's lives, it's really great.
You do a lot of charity. Let the fans out there who might not know about your celebrity golf event that you have every year.
Yeah, I've had a couple of them, and we had them down at the Durrell. Had a 3-day event where we played the Great White, which was designed by Greg Norman. And then we always finished up the tournament with the big Blue Monster, which is a pretty darn tough course. And you get down there, and you know that you've been on a golf course. But we raised a lot of money for Gary's kids, and also for Make-A-Wish.
Talk about your duties now with the WWE a little bit.
Well, I'm an agent, producer, business agent. I do a little bit of everything. I try to help the new talent become superstars. They ask me a lot of questions. What they do in that situation? What would I do in that situation?
Do you miss being out there?
Well, days like this, it's a lot of fun to get out there and wrestle, and I still feel like I can do it. I feel like I want to do it, and as long as I'm having fun doing it, I'll keep doing it. I wish I could do it more.
Sergeant Slaughter, thank you for joining us here on Wrestling Vision. It's a pleasure to meet you, and good luck with everything in the WWE.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
You're dismissed.